Do you think you'll need that one plugged in?
No.
No? Okay.
We're live.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
1 second, please. Perfect. Now, today is September 10th, 2019. And today we're going to be addressing the 12 laws of the universe. Now, why is that so important? And where do they come from? And what's the use of them? The rules that we have to be governed by are the rules that tell us how to behave. In that sense, if you see a bunch of people with a soccer ball, you have rudimentary rules of soccer. You take the ball, you gotta kick it, and it has to go in the bowl over there. Yeah, but you're playing now with people who actually know the rules, or there's an actual referee refereeing this game, and he keeps whistling at you and keep putting you in penalty, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And so it's not fun anymore, and you always seem to be getting in trouble. And so you're wondering to yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why is this so hard? Why isn't this no fun? And so you decide, okay, well, maybe I'm just not good at soccer. I'm going to go play basketball instead. And you start walking with the ball everywhere. And of course, again, you're not supposed to walk with the ball. And there's all these other rules. And you're like, well, nobody's telling me the rules. So this is even less fun because now you're starting to feel like you don't belong anywhere and you can't really do anything right. And you're not advancing. You're not going anywhere. In the same sense, this is for the fun part of it. But I travel a lot. And how many people who travel actually take the time to check what are the rules of those countries? Nobody does that. So for certain things, it's quite obvious. You go to England, they drive on a different side of the road. But certain places it's legal to smoke marijuana now, and some others it's not. And so if you're, thinking, oh, in my country it's legal, and you start doing certain things in other countries, you might get in a lot of trouble as well. We got complacent. We got lazies. We're thinking, well, I'm not doing the big ones. I'm not killing anybody. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not doing anything wrong. But there's subtleties and other things that do govern our lives. And we realize that when we're not doing anything wrong, but the police pulls you over and writes your ticket because you were going too fast, or you weren't wearing a seatbelt, or you were using your phone while you were driving. Again, another referee is intervening in your life when you're not even trying to play. And you're like, but I know those rules. So sometimes even if we know, or think we know the rules, we're not always playing by those rules. We're thinking, I can get away with this, and that's okay. In that sense, there's an actual law around the world that says ignorance of the law is not a defense. So if you do something wrong and you get caught, you can't say, well, I didn't know. It's actually your responsibility to know the laws. In the same sense, spiritual laws, it's your responsibility to know them. Now, in a previous talk, I believe in the spring, we explored the 12 laws of karma. And people often confuse the laws of karma with the laws of the universe. Some of them are similar. Some of them are relatable. Some of them are almost the same. But not all of them. And so we need to differentiate the laws of karma, which apply to a very specific part of your life, to the laws of the universe, which applies to you 100% of the time. In the same way, there's laws when you're driving a car, playing soccer, or playing basketball, but there's laws, don't kill, don't steal, that apply to you everywhere all the time. So those are the laws of the universe. And sometimes the impact or effect that it has on our lives can be minimal. It's a ticket, you're not happy, you're going to pay, it's fine. Or you brought this beautiful souvenir you brought from Africa, it turns out it's made out of ivory, and now you're facing, 5 years in jail. And you go, what? So today is to help you know these laws so you can live and abide by them, So there's no longer timeouts. There's no longer tickets. There is no longer, this isn't fun anymore, I'm not enjoying my life, to, oh my gosh, my life is completely derailed and I'm going off the deep end. The idea is the laws of the universe cover our social, religious, economic, cultural background. It covers any society. It's above and beyond what your religion might say to you or what your government laws say to you, because it treats everyone equally. So there's no longer castes, there's no longer slaves, there's no longer I'm better than you, I'm more educated than you. We're all humans, we're all souls. So these laws apply to absolutely everyone and everything, meaning that these laws also apply to everything that is created and living on this planet. It goes also beyond the moral, ethical, cultural rules that you may have that do teach you how to behave. I mean, logistically, you shall not kill, originates from the first time we've heard that written as a law was with the Jewish people. But, everybody else kind of agrees, that's a pretty good one. We're going to keep that. Right? We're not going to debate some of the very basic rules that allow us to have certain liberties from living. But if we don't go not too far in history, the Americans, when they wrote their Declaration of Independence, said we have the freedom of expression. We have the freedom to defend ourselves. There was some more freedom that they decided that was important to name and to share with others, saying, this is the way we're living here. Honor our way of living. The laws of the universe have been not so much kept as sacred, but they were passed on in mystery schools. Mystery schools were the Cathars in Spain, they were the Essenes in Mesopotamia. The Tibetan monks would have those rules as well. They're very, very, very old, but often holding an above the spiritual dimension, and therefore not quite approachable if you are not on a spiritual journey. Because some people try to convince us the rules have changed. The rules to success is you have to have a lot of money. The rules to happiness is to have a big car, fancy clothes, lots of jewelry. The rules to happiness is. And it took a long time for us to reach a pinnacle where people have all these things and more and are still depressed, unhappy, addicted to alcohol or drugs, and are not finding anything that really is meaningful to them. They have more money than they know what to do with it, but they can't buy what it is they need to finally have fun, to finally be a part of, to finally just be. And so we are now understanding that joy will come from a different place, and a place that can't be bought, and a place that can't be owned. And it brings us to the debate of fate and destiny. Some people think that we are guided by fate. The definition of fate is the development of events beyond your control. That's fate. Regarded as predetermined by supernatural power, being, semi-god, whatever. Now, we've all determined that that's not the case. We are in charge of our own destiny. More to the point, we have free will. And so no one can make us do anything we don't want to do. We are able to do what we want because we choose to do these things. Although sometimes we're choosing unconsciously to do these things, it's always our choice. The destiny, however, is events that necessarily happen to a particular person in a series of consequences and events that were predetermined by them. For people interested in finding out about that, you have to look up for the talk on Akashic Records, where we explain that before you're born, you make a plan. You have a destiny to accomplish. But even though you plan something, now we all make plans, right? You want to go camping, you think it's going to be fabulous, you get there, you forgot the tent. Oops. Or you're going camping and you're thinking, oh, we're going to do all these activities, and it starts pouring rain and you can't do half of what you planned. But you had a great plan to begin with. But sometimes the plans get sidetracked, sometimes the plans get diverted. And that's what destiny is about. This is what free will is about. Free will is you were destined to do these actions, and then you're like, no, I don't feel like it. I'm pissed off at this person, so I'm not going to help them. And you're walking away from these events. So, you're circumventing these things until eventually you're ready to forgive and move back into this alignment and doing what you were supposed to do. So you are in control of your own fate, but it is your soul that determines what your destiny is going to be. And the end goal of this incarnation while you are on the planet is to eventually raise your vibration to become co-creator again. You are trying to grow. Sometimes the growth, if we look at history, sometimes the growth is very fast, like in the Renaissance period, and sometimes it got really, really slow, the Dark Ages, right? You are born at a time now where things are moving fast again. It's like the second Renaissance of humanity. There's energy on the planet that facilitate our growth. There's people coming together, and we're not in fear of being burned at the stakes or chopped to pieces. We're able to discuss ideas, grow these ideas, explore these ideas, practice those ideas. And so, in order to do so in a productive way, in a way that will bring us more growth, we need to do so within God's will and within God's wisdom. And those are the 12 principles or laws that we're going to discuss today. Now, the first law, the law of divine oneness. This law says we are all connected. And this is why it's a spiritual concept and not a three-dimensional concept, because this isn't about being connected. You have to hold hands with everybody, although that would be pretty cool, I gotta say. But you're trying to see beyond the physical body at the connection. The law of oneness says that it's not about the physical body, but the soul. You need to start looking at people, first of all, in their eyes, seeing their soul, and seeing the connection there. Again, not a sexual connection, it's beyond and above that. It's recognizing those playmates that you play with when you're not in the physical body. The soul is occupying the space between the electrons of your body. It's also occupying the space of your etheric body, your mental, emotional, and spiritual body. Your soul is much bigger than who you actually are. So even if you're not physically touching, right now, I am touching everybody in this room. We are connected because your field and my field are touching. Exponentially, if you think of someone, we've all done that, especially if you practice healing or anything like that, and you're sending prayers or energy to somebody, while you're doing that, why does this work? Because you're actually connecting from your soul to their soul. You're creating that connection by sending love, by sending energy to them. The soul is limitless. It's not confined to a physical body. It's not stuck in time and space. It doesn't have to remain here and now. It can go and travel through these different areas of this life or your past life or your future life or outside of life, and to reconnect. There's a part of you that is always in the presence of the Creator. Therefore, if you connect with that part of you, you're connecting to Creator. Imagine it in the sense that you're sitting on the beach and the sun is beaming on you. And the sun is beaming on everybody on that beach. And if everybody is beaming on it, the sun is beaming on you in the same way that is beaming on everybody else. To be in the presence of Creator is very much like that. Everybody has enough room to be in the rays of this sun and receive through the rays of this sun the love of Creator. Now, by extension, you're touching the fabric of the very universe itself. And therefore, you are the fabric of the universe. So that's the first law. You're much, much, much bigger than you think. And because you're all connecting, what does that do? That means that when you do something, you're affecting everybody around you. Okay. So next we're going to go into the law of vibration. The law of vibration means that everything is made of energy. Now, if you've listened to many of my talks, you should know this by now, but for those of you who don't, you have to be a little scientific here. But you're made of molecules. Those molecules are made of atoms. These atoms are pure energy. And what's holding them together is the forces of electrons and neutrons and positrons working all together. You're energy. But so is the couch, and so is the TV, and so is the air, and the lights, and the colors, and the music, and everything you are surrounded by as energy. Therefore, if it's made of energy, it has a frequency. It is because of this energy or frequency that you are affected. So if you're looking at color, those colors will create moods and impression inside your body. It will also affect and reflect emotions or state of mind inside your body. The same thing is said with music. That's an easy one, right? So we listen to classical and everybody goes, oh, you're not going to see someone start dancing in classical music. People tend to be more in a meditative state or a more absorbed state or feeling closer to nature, perhaps. The sounds of nature is another sound. You don't feel stress if you go to nature. What you feel stress if you go downtown and someone is like and breaking cement, and then there's a big truck backing up. Beep, beep, beep. It's a cacophony of sound. And you're feeling it stressing you. Why? Because those vibrations, those frequencies are affecting your own. So, in the same sense, if you're yelling at someone, or if you're having an argument with someone, you're affecting your frequency. If you're in an environment where people are yelling at each other or people are disagreeing with each other, you're also being affected by it. So that it's a young child or an elderly person, whoever is inside this environment is being affected by everything that's happening. So you have the own power to affect this positively or negatively. You have a choice of saying, please stop. Let's find another way to communicate. You have the power to say, let's change the music to something quieter, calmer. Even the TV shows, if you must watch TV, align yourself with the vibration that raises you, not lower you. The lower your vibrations go, this is when people get sick. People get depressed. People get emotional. People are unable to think. They have the brain fog. They develop illnesses. Right? So vibration, this law of vibration is really, really important because you need, in order to be able to play by the rules of the universe, raise your vibration, not lower them. Another interesting fact about vibration, vibration comes into your body. So if you, again, we go back to the talk on the importance of meditation. You need to feed your spiritual body through meditation. Your physical body gets nutrition through what we drink and what we eat. What are you putting inside your body? Are you putting a bunch of chemicals, or are you actually putting actual food? Our rule now in my household is if I can't read what's on the sticker on the box or whatever we're buying, and I don't recognize the ingredients, we're not buying it. And this is one of the greatest things that's ever happened, is this new rule that people have to at least tell us what's in the box. And we've made a commitment to make most of our food from scratch. So we know what we're putting inside our body. We know how fresh it is. We know when it was made. And our body by equivalence, are thanking us, and it's grateful to us because it keeps us healthy and strong and vibrant and energetic. Yes, it's the law of vibration. Okay, so do you understand? Okay, so this vibration extends beyond just what's on the outside of us. It's also what's in the inside. What are we putting in, and how much time are we allowing each day to put this in? The next law is the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence, it means that you're actually in the driver's seat of your life. Nobody else is driving that car. Now, you can do your driving consciously or unconsciously. It's up to you to choose. Whatever is around you right now is actually what's inside of you. So, for example, if your house is cluttered, your mind is cluttered. Your thoughts are cluttered. Your direction in life is cluttered. You can't move. Okay, well, this is a representation of what's going on inside. So this talk really invites you, because this is all about you. This isn't about anybody else playing by rules. You got to first examine, how are you living by these rules, right? How does this reflect in my life? And you need to spend the time examining your life. What are the patterns in my life? And when I talk about patterns, I mean, what kind of food are you eating? Not just today, after this talk, you're going to have a nice salad. On a regular basis, what do you feed yourself? What is the pattern of work? Are you working at a job you hate just because it makes good money? Or are you not making so much money, but you're very, very happy at what you do? Are you constantly getting boyfriends or lovers or whatever that are always the same type? You know, because we always heard this expression, he or she has a type. Well, yes, because their vibration is attracting this type of person. And it's corresponding to what's inside. So people are like, well, I don't understand why she's this person. They don't treat her nice. What is that? Could mean many different things, but one of the things it means is that you don't think you deserve any better than this. And because you don't believe you deserve anything better than this, you're not going to look for anything better. Just like I don't have money to shop in that store, so I'm not going to go inside. That's never stopped me. If I find something pretty, I'll keep going into that store until it goes on sale, until it goes on the clearance rack, and then I'll go get it. Right? There's nothing that should stop you except yourself. So you need to really spend some time determining what are the patterns in my life. A lot of my students, one of the homework they absolutely detest is a lifeline, which means you start from 0 to however old you are, and you examine every year of your life. You examine where you were physically. So are you moving around all the time? That's going to develop a pattern. You're going to see the pattern because now it's on paper. You're like, oh my gosh, in the past 10 years, I've moved 9 times. Okay, so that's a lot. Why are you moving so much? Now, if you tell me that you keep getting better jobs and you keep getting offers, that's great. If you tell me that you're moving that much because you keep going from one relationship to the next and you just keep jumping from one apartment with a guy to another person or a girl, it's, not one is better than the other, then it's going to help you see those patterns. And then you have to look at emotionally. What has happened during this time? What is the changes that you've seen? Are you depressed? Since when did you depress? Is this really the first time you were depressed? Examine where those tendencies have developed. How long have you been dragging these things in the backpack, right? It's a mighty big backpack. People keep putting, this too shall pass. No, it won't pass unless you change. There's these expressions that are really neat that people, oblivious to life completely, keep repeating. But no, it shall not pass. It will just simply repeat itself until you examine the pattern, you heal or learn your lesson, and then change. And then, yes, it will pass, and yes, you will finally get something different. Then I asked them to look at mentally. Mentally, it's not the depression. That's emotional. Mentally is curiosity, creativity, it's intelligence, it's learning, it's stimulating your brain. So how has that been for you? Have you been told you were stupid for the last 10 years? Are you telling yourself, I'm so stupid? Are you, are you supposed to be learning and you're not? So when did the difficulty about starting to learn start to evolve? Everybody is born pretty much at the same place in terms of possibility. But then it's what happens next that may complicate things. If you never, you were always hungry, you're always tired, and you're always living in fear, then yeah, sure, this will affect the way you're learning. You're not focused. You're not. So when did these things start? Examine those patterns, because it's not because you had difficulty learning at 7 that you must have difficulty all your life. There were a time in circumstances that were present that made it difficult maybe for you at the time, but you don't have to believe that this is the rest of your life. Okay, so the law of correspondence means what is being reflected around you that is telling you about you and who you are and where you're heading. Okay? Then there's the law of attraction. Now we have that one in the law of karma. They're exactly the same, have the same name. You must understand that what you're doing attracts others. Therefore, if you're hurting someone, you're attracting people who are going to hurt you. And this, for some of you, say, well, I don't hurt people. No, you hurt yourself. Sometimes you're hurting your own self. You don't need someone else to be hurting you. And so you don't treat yourself with respect. And then you wonder why nobody else is treating you with respect. Because you have to learn to respect yourself first. And then people are going to say, yeah, can't mess around with that one. I have an experience. I love dancing. So even though I don't drink, I still like to go dancing on my birthday once a year. Makes me feel young. And I'm watching the behaviors around me, how the men are interacting with the women. And they're being pretty rude and grabbing people's butts and things. And I'm thinking it's interesting because no one is grabbing mine. And it's not that mine is not sexy or anything. It's just, we were discussing this. Imagine this. We're on a dance floor and we stopped dancing and we started to have this conversation. It's pretty fun. And the person that I was with says, no one would dare do that to you. They know you're going to turn around and just slap them into the next week. I'm like, true, very true. She's like, there's an energy about you. There's a aura about you that's like, no, not that one, that wouldn't pass. Right? And this is true about everything. It's true about your friends. It's true about relationship. It's true about your pets. It's true about everything that surrounds you. I had someone say, I wish I had the same kind of friends you have, because your friends are so giving. I said, yes, but I do believe I deserve it. And so therefore, I'm able and willing to receive. And I surround myself with people who are willing and able to give. But what people don't see is I also give. I'm also generous. Yeah? But they only seem to see the one side of the coin. So no, it goes both ways. Right? But I do so in complete trust. I'm not in fear, because again, if you're thinking fear, if you're feeling fear, what are you attracting? You're attracting exactly what you fear, because that's where your mind is at. Now, for the law of attraction, and this is where I'm getting at, it's not just your action, it's your thoughts. What are you thinking when you're alone by yourself? Are you thinking, oh, well, I'm so lonely, life is terrible? Okay, so you're spending an hour on a couch crying about that, you meditate for 5 minutes, I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful, life is great. But you're spending another hour after that, my life is so terrible. Where is your energy focus? You have 5 minutes, are you really trying? And then you have 2 hours if you're not trying whatsoever. This is hard, monitoring your thoughts, because they're inside of us. And so it's not like, but this is a tool. You can make a deal and a pact with your best friend or your friend and say, if you hear me putting myself down. If you hear me say, calling myself names, if you hear me be negative or anything, please correct me so I can change right away this thought that I just said and correct it in a positive way. And that does help, because eventually what happens is that you're not just catching your words, you're going to start catching your thoughts. If you are alone, however, and you're finding this very difficult, you can train yourself. We all have cell phones or watch that can beep, and we can set them for a certain amount of time. Set them to beep every hour. And then ask yourself, now, what was I just thinking? And sometimes you'd be thinking, well, I'm making my budget. Okay. But what were you thinking? I don't have enough money, or wow, everything's good. Everything's going to work out. I have a plan. I'm going to follow my plan. Right? If you're thinking, well, I was at work in a meeting. Yeah. Okay. So what were you thinking in a meeting? Were you actually focused on the meeting? Were you actually actively participating in this meeting? Or was your mind on walking the dog and getting something on the way home? And where are your thoughts? So it's not just that your thoughts are necessarily going to be super happy or super bad. It's where are they? Are you in the now? Are you in the moment of what you're supposed to be doing? Are you focusing every minute of every day on what you're actually supposed to be focusing? It's so easy in this day and age to get distracted. We have television, we have the radio, we have our phones, we have all the apps on our phones, we have all the stupid game, like, you get carried away. And then, half an hour of free time. Oh, well, I'm going to play it because, I got half an hour. And then it expands. And meanwhile, you're not doing the reading you had planned on doing. You're not doing the meditation you had planned on doing. You're not doing the other things. You're in the now of this game. That seems to grab people's attention. Maybe that's why people tend to think that they need colorful places to go meditate, because it's more attractive or something. Yeah? But it's all a matter of thoughts. So watch what you talk about. Don't talk about what you don't have. If you don't know what to talk about, have a meeting with a bunch of friends. We call it tee it out, right? Instead of talk it out, you tee it out. And sit down and take turn at something you're grateful for. That will keep you in the positive. That would also remind you, if you're doing it with friends, like, wow, right, and I forgot, I got that too, and oh my gosh, right. And you realize you're not as bad as you were, because now you're not focusing on what you don't have. You're focusing on what you actually do have. You start to realize, I have a lot. I may not have a lot of money, but I have good friends, I have food in my fridge, I have ways to transport myself, I have a wonderful job, right? This is where your vibration raised. You see how those laws are all interconnected. They're all working together. So you must focus those thoughts, those words, those thoughts in not what you don't have, but start imagining, okay, so for me to be happy, this is the way my life is going to look. And don't make it dependent on anybody else. For me to be happy, I'll be married. No, that's another person. It's not you. What do you need to do for you to be happy? So for a lot of people out there, I'm now refocusing your entire journey of, I have to find someone to find happiness. No, you do not. Happiness should not be depending on something outside of yourself. Happiness comes from you feeling complete. So now, if you don't know what to think about, think and ask yourself, what do I need to be complete? That way, you can adjust yourself and start attracting these things. So again, we go back to the previous law that asks you to do an internal check of what is it that you have to work on. And you're going to start seeing a pattern. It's very, very interesting, because people are like, well, I want respect. And then they see, when did it start and how long they've been accepting that. Why are you accepting this? Why are you not standing up for yourself? Well, I don't stand up for myself because, okay, well, let's work on that too. It gives you the hints and the indication of everything you need to work on in order to be ready and prepared. And once you are a full person, once you are whole, you will meet someone that reflects this wholeness back to you. Now, it's not what we really want. You want the perfect relationship, but you look at yourself and you see all the defects. So you need to start seeing all the beauty in you. You need to see all the perfections in you. And you need to embellish who you are and create the you that you can be. Because again, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. It doesn't matter if you did drugs. It doesn't matter if you've been drinking. It doesn't matter if you were in a profession that wasn't all that great, or if you sold drugs, or whatever it is that you did. You recognize, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And I want to change. And as you do these things, you will attract a whole different life to you. And in consequence, you're going to attract different people. Right? So, the law, which leads us to the law of inspired actions. Is you must act to effect the change that you want. So you can't say, I want this great job, and you sit on your couch for the rest of the week. You want this job. And I had this actually happen to me this week, which was very interesting. The person came in and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I want that job. That's great. What do you need to get that job? I think I should get training. If you look into it, I said that. Instead of thinking, make sure. She knows exactly the place where she wants to work, which is fantastic. Call them. Say, I really want that job. What do you need me to do so that I will? It's not an if or maybe, perhaps, if I could get the job, but no. I want this job. This is truly calling me. This is really important for me. This is what I really want. So now the inspire actions kick in. Go and get exactly what do I need to do to get there. It's the same thing as a student who is in high school and says, well, I want to be a psychologist. Well, that's great. Did you know you need math for that? Wait, what? You do. Oh, I didn't know that. Right. But this is what the law of inspired action is about, is finding out what you want to do and what do you need to be able to do that. If you don't like your work, you could go back to school. You could apply for a different position. You could look for a new place to work. You could just stay there and complain. Now, which one is not going to bring you change? There's actually people in the room. They're just like
complain. Don't complain.
We're very quiet.
Absorbing the information.
So, staying put and complaining is the only one that's not going to bring about change. You need to be acting, moving, but not just in any which way. You have to focus it. So find out where is it you want to go. So, for example, and I've seen people do this. Hey, let's go for a drive. Where? I don't know. And I'm thinking, how do we know we're there? I don't know. Just want to drive around. I'm like, no. I got better things to do than just drive around. Now, if you tell me, we're going to drive, we're going to go here to meditate. It's beautiful. There's a beautiful. Oh, okay. So now we have a direction. We have a place to go. We know what we're doing. Let's get in the car and let's get there. But if you're just living your life like, yeah, well, maybe perhaps I want to do this. Don't expect great change to come out of that. And don't expect that you're going to know what the next step is either. Because you don't really have a direction. Maybe you actually need to go left instead of right. But how are you going to know that? Yes? So, in order to have inspired action, you have to have some direction. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. I'm going to say this again. Law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Now, see, if I chose these words, I would not have chosen that word, but it's the official word, so we're going to have to go with that. You can choose to change things now. Oh, so now we're going back to the law of your thoughts. Where are you in the now? So we're going to take an example of someone in that board meeting. They're not really paying attention, and they're thinking of their laundry, and then they come out of the meeting, and they think that meeting sucked. Well, I'm sure it did. Did you participate in the meeting? Did you listen to the meeting? Did you provide your input during this meeting? No, I wasn't present during the meeting. Now, next time you go to the meeting, come prepared. What are we going to talk about for the meeting? Ooh, I may have some ideas to share. Wow, you come prepared, which is, they're all linked to each other, right? That's the inspired action. You're prepared, you know what the meeting's about, you have some ideas. And then you have to take the change in the now and say, excuse me. Of course, it requires you to step up. It requires you to be perhaps vulnerable, to put yourself at risk. But if you want things to change, if you want your truth to be told, you're going to have to speak your truth because it belongs to you and no one else. So if you're expecting someone else to speak your truth for you, good luck. It's never going to happen. You must be the one to say, I have an idea and I'd like to share it. And at first, if you've not been talking in meetings, and if you're not usually voicing your opinions, you can expect some people to go, ooh, right? And you got to get past that and say, yeah, actually, I've been thinking about this. I prepared for this meeting, and then people are going to go, oh, okay. Now you got their attention. Now, I don't know if your idea is going to be great. I don't know if everybody's going to jump in with it, but at least it's a start. You're living in the now. And when you do this, you're raising your vibration. So now we go back to the law of vibration from before. How do I raise my vibration? By living in the now. By taking control of the situation that I'm stuck in, and rather than, remember the law of vibration, rather than being pushed and shoved or falling asleep while this is happening, I'm living present right now. And if something I don't like, I will speak up. You can even leave. I had someone who said, oh, I don't know what to do because my mother calls and she complains for hours and hours, and then it doesn't matter if whatever mood I was in, after I hang up, I'm always depressed. Right. So why are you talking to your mother for 2 hours? And they looked at me and said, well, what other options do I have? I said, you can say, okay, so we talked about this yesterday. If you're going to say the same exact thing today, I'm not going to listen today. I'm going to go now. You have to say the rules are changing now. Married couple, they usually have a way of interacting with one another. That is usually to blow out, and they trigger each other. One of them had to change to stop the situation. And so the wife decided that she would try for 1 week the situation or the suggestions that instead of reacting and defending yourself, just try to be understanding from his point of view, be in his shoes. All of a sudden, the husband was completely disarmed. You can't argue because you're agreeing with him. Wait, what? You're agreeing with me? Yes, actually, I do agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. That could be very stressful. Normally, the conversation would have been, well, you're not the only one who's stressed, and what about me? And that led never nowhere. But for once, this person said, I will not participate in this vibration of yelling and violence. It's a form of violence. I will instead try to de-escalate that. And by actually listening, she did that, which shocked the husband. And for there too, the woman would tell you that she's put her hand in the fire and swear that he did it on purpose to try and provoke an argument. And so it took everything she had not to engage and continue to be supportive. Until finally, on the 5th day, he asked, so what's going on? Why are you nice? She's like, well, I thought that perhaps the other way wasn't working. So maybe if I'm trying to be supportive instead of trying to justify something, maybe that would help. It changed their entire relationship. Because now, instead of trying to battle for this very little energy in the room, she was freely opening and giving love to him, which allowed him to finally open up, and there's now a loving exchange. Yeah? And that's the perpetual law of transmutation. We're transforming that energy into something else. The energy is constantly present and constantly moving. So you have a choice how to affect the movement of that energy. Are you going to bring it down, or are you going to bring it up? Again, this talk is not meant for you to listen and go, oh, that was cute, or that was fun. It's actually loaded with homework for you to do. Because you're actually having to look at yourself and asking yourself, take one day. I'm not even asking to take your whole life right now. But just take one day and say, now, when I got out of bed, did I go out of bed, and especially if you're living with someone or sharing the room with someone, when I get out of bed, was I kind and said good morning? Or did I don't want to go to work, and started already, mouthing off? Then I went to get my coffee. Did I grab my coffee and just walked out, stressed out with all the noise and everything? Or did I take the time to make eye contact and said, thank you very much, have a nice day? Then I got into the office. Then I went straight to my desk, dedicated myself to my work for hours, or did I take the time to acknowledge the people I work with and said, well, good morning, how are you today? Oh, is your son doing better? Yes, fantastic. I'm not saying you have to start a conversation for 3 hours with these people, but acknowledging the human presence in your environment raises their vibration. Oh, she remembers my son wasn't feeling well. Oh, she's acknowledging I'm here today. Oh, this feels nice. Which means by the time you reach your actual desk, the vibration in the office is already higher. You're operating much higher. And then you may work, but people know that you're approachable, and so they'll go to you. And then it's lunchtime. Did you grab your stuff and hoarded it to a corner of loneliness where you ate alone because you're so stressed and you're so tired you don't want to talk to anybody? Or did you decide, gee, would you like to have lunch with me today? And the person happily surprised, oh, well, actually, I would love to. They don't want to be alone, but they don't have to make the courage or the guts or, to ask. Or they're new, or whatever it is. Right? So what are you doing throughout the entire time that you're out and about during the day? How are you affecting and transforming the energy around you? How are you affecting this energy? Are you helping the energy go up or go down? Because it's not stable. It will go like this. I recommend trying to put it up. But yeah, it's all up to you. But that links into the law of cause and effect. Now, the law of cause and effect is often mistaken for the law of karma. If they do this, that's going to happen to them. That's not karma. That's why we did a special talk on karma. The law of cause and effect is that nothing happens by chance, first of all. Okay, so it's not that you smack or get smacked. Nothing happens by chance. So, if you start speaking up at that meeting, you start getting noticed, and hold and behold, you get a promotion. Promotion didn't come out of nowhere. Promotion came out because of your hard work and your participation. Now, I get a few of your skepticals out there, and I can hear you all the way from here. Well, sometimes it's all arranged, and you have to be the buddy of this person. Yeah, so the world's not perfect. Okay? It does happen sometimes. However, if you are ethical, and if you are honest, what are you going to attract? What are you going to attract? You're going to attract honest people. You're going to attract honest bosses, ethical bosses, who are going to reward you based on your work and your effort, and not just because you're buddy with Jake, George, Jacob, and Michael. Yes? All right. So, I'm sorry about that. And therefore, your actions that you've been taking before, elevating your vibration, elevating your thoughts, and attracting better people will make you work in a better environment. You'll have better coworkers, you'll have better boss, and you'll have better chances of actually achieving and getting to where you're trying to get. And the law of cause and effect is that for every action, there is a reaction. Again, for every kindness, there'll be a reward. For every gossip, there's also a reward. So each thought, each deed, each action affect the energy around you. And so it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not fate that's throwing this shoe in your wheel. It's you. The laws of the universe now we're starting to get up there. It's about you. It's about how you are causing this for yourself. If you want to heal this, the talk on the Hawaiian healing is great. This is what it means. You are responsible. You're not forgiving someone else, you're forgiving yourself. Oh, but my husband was horrible. And who picked the husband? Well, I did. Okay. And now you're mad for him being himself. Okay? Right? This is how you have to change your perspective. You have to change the way you're looking at things. You have to focus on your role in your life. Now, I have some people, when it comes to this, they're like, well, I was just a child and I was sexually molested. I couldn't have attracted that. That's a whole other conversation on soul and Akashic Records, okay? There was something in it for you to learn. It's a difficult lesson. It could be compassion, it could be forgiveness. But this event might lead you to something magnificent. My personal life led me to spirituality. It led me to a greater understanding on how the universe works. And it led me to wanting to be a good person. Led me to breaking cycles that have been going on for generations and saying no more. This is the way we're doing things now. In a nice, loving way. Yeah? So the law of cause and effect has to do with you. So again, that's why we talked about fate at the beginning of talk. None of this just happens because there's a sprite somewhere that's doing this to you. Or there's a demigod that just is pissed off at you right now and is throwing this at you. No. This happens because of your thoughts, your actions. And does it have to keep going on? No. Right here, if you live in the now, you can change it. This is the whole concept of the 12 steps. If you take it one day at a time. Each day is a new day. Each day is a new beginning. I didn't do so well yesterday. Okay, that was yesterday. Don't beat yourself up for yesterday. Yeah, but I was really rude to that taxi driver. Yeah, but that was yesterday. Today, be kind. Maybe you'll get the same taxi driver again. Maybe you can apologize for yesterday. But maybe you'll never see that taxi driver again. So make it up to that taxi driver by being kind to everybody else today. Okay? It's really easy to get dragged into everybody else's energy. And therefore, you are required to becoming experts at maintaining high level of energy. But imagine a world where everybody's actually making an effort to try and raise their energy. What kind of world would we live in now? Very different world, yeah? While I was preparing for this talk, I got reminded of a story of a child that was being very mean. And the father was trying to change this child's behavior. And he wasn't too sure how to go about it because he didn't want to hurt the child, but at the same time wanted the child to realize you're hurting people. And so he made the kid put a nail in the fence for every time that he got caught saying something bad, gossiping, or hurting someone. And as the child's growing up, right, starting to see there's a lot of nails on that fence, and I'm kind of running out of space here. What am I going to do? And automatically, after a long period of time and hurting a lot of people, this child realized, wow, that's a lot of hurtful things I've done. So he finally went to his father and says, how can I get the nails out of the fence? He says, well, for every act of kindness, for every act of generosity, for every time you make someone happy, someone smile, you can remove a nail from the fence. And off this teenager went off and tried to be kind now. And it took years for him to have enough act of kindness to remove all the nails in the fence. Very proud as a young man, brings his father in the backyard, says, look, Dad, I finally took the last nail out of the fence. He says, that's fantastic, son. He says, however, can you see the marks left by the nail now? And the son's looking at his dad, well, yeah, there's holes all over the fence now. He says, so even though you're doing acts of kindness, you have to do a little bit more, because you have to repair the damage. And so the son said, well, I don't know if I can find these people. That's okay. Every person you meet has this hurt, this damage, these comments that were said to them. Now it's up to you to make a special effort to try not just to be kind, but to lead them on a path of healing, of transforming, so that they can heal their whole and they no longer have wounds inside of them. This is what the 12 laws of the universe is talking about, which takes us to the next law, the law of compensation. You will receive what you put out. So, in this sense, you dish out the bad, that's all you can reap. You'll never have a great life. I mean, just look at the way a drug dealer's life is. Sure, they have money, but they're always looking over their shoulders. They're always stressed out. They're always nervous. They're always maybe getting caught, getting betrayed. Is that the type of environment that you really feel is worth the money you have in your pocket right now? Which is actually, what does that really give you? Wouldn't you prefer to have less money, but be at peace? Be free to walk around, knowing that no one's watching you, nobody wants to skin you alive, right? So, in the same sense, if you are being kind, kindness will return to you. It has nothing to do with judgment. It goes along with the law of attraction. So there's nobody looking down saying, oh, okay, you deserve this much. No, it's energy. It's a balance of energy. Likewise, energy will attract likewise energy. So if you sow love, you will attract love, and therefore you will receive love. Now, some people say, yeah, but I'm very kind, and I share with a lot of people, and it doesn't seem to be reciprocated. Then you fall into, again, this other part of you don't think you deserve it. That's why you need to go back to your timeline and examine your life. And when did you start believing you weren't good enough? When did you start thinking you weren't worthy enough, right? Examine those things, because you must heal those wounds, those holes in the fence, to be full again, okay? Which takes us to the law of relativity. The law of relativity is that we all receive tests to make sure that we have learned our lesson. Events are put on our journey to help us stay connected from the heart. Okay, so we're not necessarily connected by the hands, but the way that the soul is connecting is through the heart. So it means that sometimes you will be faced with situations that you will have to decide, am I going to be helping, or am I just going to walk away from this? For example, I used to work in Montreal, and I used to finish working at the bank at 4 a.m. in the morning. And I would see, and it's cold in Montreal in the winter, so at night, if you're homeless, they tend to walk around to stay warm, right? And this older gentleman was asking for money. Now, I'd heard, that if you give them money, they just go out drinking. But I didn't want to judge. But at the same time, it was hard-earned money. So if I don't drink, I didn't want them to drink it. So I said, listen, I said, if you want food, I will buy you food. And I'll even stay with you to keep you company. But if you don't want me to buy you the food, then I can't give you money. And it was a much older gentleman. And he says, actually, the company would be great. So the food was the added bonus to having a human being to talk to. Yes? So every time someone is worse off than you, you're actually helping yourself. Because what did I do without knowing? Because I was very young when this was happening. I was like 25 years ago. I was putting putty inside of one of those holes in the fence. Right? I didn't just say, oh, okay, yeah, here's some money and walked away. With that, I really helped this old man. Maybe, yeah, he would have gotten the coffee, would have gotten soup, but what did he really need? Someone to treat him like a decent human being. Not everybody can go out and do this. Not everybody is in their comfort zone to do that, and that's okay. But then perhaps your comfort zone is to volunteer as a senior center, right? And volunteer with young children who need to be read to learn to read. Or, there's many, many places we can contribute some of our time to let those people know we care. They're still important. They're still a vital part of humanity. And their light, their soul is important and matters to us. Okay? So it goes back to the first law. We are all connected. We are all one. All of us deserve love, appreciation, compassion, and forgiveness. If someone is horrible, it's because they never been thought. Nobody grows up saying, I want to be a drug dealer, I want to be a hooker, I want to be a killer. It's not how they're born. They're born late. And then things happen, and they're led to believe that that's all they can be. We need to touch these souls. We need to let them know that this is how you were. Ask them to believe it. We need to love them. We need to be there for them. And so it also means that everything is relative. Remember, there's no judgment. So things are not good or bad. Someone can say, well, I broke my arm, but it wasn't bad because I met my husband in the waiting room. Right? They view that as a good thing. And someone say, well, I won $1 million and it was absolutely horrible. Why is that? Well, everybody wanted money and everybody was chasing me around, and it just didn't, I think it would have been better for me to stay poor. So don't judge what happens to you as good or bad. Ask yourself, why? Why is this happening? What is this leading me to? Is this waking me up to the fact that this person is not good for me, or this person is extraordinary for me, or this job is great, or this job is not? What is it saying to you? A lot of the people that I've met over the years that had lost a really good job were devastated at first, and then it finally gave them time to write the book they published, or to start their own company, and they did 10 times better than they would have done if they stayed with that company. But without these things that at first seemed bad, it wouldn't have pushed them forward. It wouldn't have gotten them out of that box to be more than they were. Because before they were just drones. Oh, look, I fit here, so I can just sit here and be here. But you can be more. If you settle for this, then you settled. But if the universe really believes in you and thinks that you're made for better, stronger, wonderful stuff, it might throw a few things at you to get you moving in that direction. That's the law of relativity. Then we only have 3 more laws to go over. And there's the law of polarity. The law of polarity is that everything has a charge. Everything is either yin or yang. Everything is either positive or negative. Everything is either white or black. Everything has both. The symbol of yin and yang cannot be detached. It's a symbol that contains both. It's a circle. Inside of the circle, there's movement. And if you really look at the picture closely, they're exactly even. That's balance. That's the law of polarity. You're not supposed to be extremely happy, or you're not supposed to be extremely sad. You're supposed to be peaceful. That's what will bring you happiness. It sounds very, very boring. And I did believe that for a time. I was like, oh, how boring is that going to be? We're just going to be peaceful. But after that you live the life that I've lived with all the drama I've had, then
Best feeling in the world.
That's the best feeling. You come to understand that wow, you know what? There was no drama today. Well, look at that.
Feels good.
It feels good, right? I'm feeling, I'm liking this. And this is, it is the goal, is to find this relative peace and balance. Now you can have a little bit of moment where, okay, we're laughing, and a little bit of moment where we're a little bit more serious. But we don't need these big moments of adrenaline, of super joy, because we're not super sad. So we don't need to be dragged out of this hole to be put somewhere else. We don't have these huge, ups and downs. We're just like, no, this is good. I'm happy. This is going great. And we're just enjoying this moment, this peace that we are finally achieving. Because that will only come if you stay balanced, if you stay even. And you choose the higher frequency every time. We're having squirrel also debating physical debate outside the door here. But, we gotta love nature.
That's a squirrel? It
Yeah.
sounds like a bird.
That's a squirrel.
I thought it was
It's a
a
squirrel.
bird too.
The human experience is when we experience contrast and choose the higher world. Now, you've heard that expression. Be the bigger man. Choose the higher world. All that means is see and you always have choices. Even when you think you're done, you do. You just haven't explored the choices. But there's a choice in everything. You have a choice, am I going to get out of bed or am I going to stay in bed? Am I going to go to work or am I going to stay home? And then those choices for us become more automatic because you're like, if I don't go to work, I'm going to lose my job. Okay, well, I'm going to work. But then you're at work. You still have choices there. And I've had people come to me taking a class with me called Transform Your Work, saying, I can't transform my work. My work is, I work in an institution. I'm a teacher. I have to teach these things. Don't have a choice. I said, you have lots of choices. You have a choice to do it with a smile. You have a choice of doing angry. You have a choice of creating something new or using the same old stuff. You have a choice of interacting with students or just, letting them come in. You have choices, even though you might work for a big firm or you might have a very detailed, scheduled or tasks assigned to you. You still have choices to be human. And then your choice might be, this isn't the place for you. I had someone, wonderful, wonderful lady. She's 27 years old, finished a bioengineering degree, went to school for a very long time, worked for about a year, and then realized, wow, I hate this. I was like, oh, that sucks. She's like, yeah, but, I have a choice. I can do something that sucks for the next 20, 25 years, or I can get out now. And I'm like, okay. So was it an easy choice? No. She spent years studying, going to university. She had student loans, and but she wasn't happy. So she made a choice. I'm going to get out now, and I'm going to figure out what it is that's me. What am I supposed to do? What's good for me? And she's trying different things while traveling and having a good time. She's happy. She said, I haven't figured out yet what I'm supposed to do. But at least I'm trying to figure it out and I'm having fun while I'm doing it. Like, way to go, right? That's the law of polarity, is whenever you have a choice, try to always pick the higher vibrating one, the one that will bring a smile to you. Which will get us into the 11th law, the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm is the law of life itself. Remember, these are the 12 laws of the universe. The earth has rhythm. It takes 24 hours to rotate on its axis. It also has a rhythm of 365 and a quarter days to go around the sun. While other planets rotate at different rates and it takes longer or shorter to go around the sun. There's also the rhythm of the season. the summer, the fall, the winter, the spring. There's the life of a human, the birth, the toddler, the child, the teen, the adult, young adult, old person, senior, and death. There's the presence of nature. Plant a seed, grow a seed, tree bears fruit, eat the fruit. Yeah. Plant dies. There's cycles. So as you find this middle road, as you find this balance, you will find this neutral position in your life, but you also experience cycles. And those cycles are cycles of growth. You start something new, don't think that necessarily going to be of great success. I have a 25-year-old son. Sorry, buddy. I'm going to take you as an example. He says, "Yeah, Mom, look at this guy. It's instant success." I'm looking at the guy. The guy looks like he's in his 50s. So that's not instant success. I already know that. I can guarantee you that. Read more about the story. No. He invented this thing and he got bought out and he's like an instant millionaire. So go look how many other inventions did he create. How many times did he fail at this thing before he got it right? Then he could sell it and make money. It wasn't instantaneous. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of effort that goes into growing something. We need to respect that. Someone has been working for some time on their spiritual development and they understand a lot of these laws, and then they get face to face with their cousin they haven't seen in a while, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean you don't know this stuff?" They're beginners. Don't expect them to be experts. I have some people who say, I want to do the energy healing you do. Right? Well, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I'm not saying it has to take as long as it took me, but it's definitely going to take you a little while. You have to nurture your gifts. You have to develop your gifts. Some people were like, "Oh, I wish I could draw like that." My answer is, you can. "Oh, no, I can't. Not right now." But there's in this cycle of growth, if you do dedicate yourself, if you take classes, if you learn, if you practice like this artist did, you can eventually come up with something. Not exactly the same. It's going to be your own, but you can create something new. You have to respect the law of rhythm. You don't decide tomorrow I'm going to run the marathon in Boston and then just fly over there and just start running, right? We all know that. What's the rhythm? You're going to start by getting off the couch and you're going to start training. We might have to train with a group and know how to run and then develop your skills. And then eventually it might take you 2 years, but you might get to that marathon and run it. So why is it so obvious for a marathon, but it's not so obvious for our spiritual development? Because we can't see it? Is that what it is? I'm going to leave that question for you guys. But yeah, there's a rhythm to everything. You have to understand the rhythm of your life. As women get older, they're complaining, "Oh, my boobs are sagging, I get hot flashes, it's horrible." But you're entering this phase of your life. You can embrace it and know that pretty soon your body's going to change again. You can't be an 18-year-old all your life. You're 57. Don't expect to be an 18-year-old. Don't compare yourself with an 18-year-old. Obviously, it's going to be different. There's a time to be young, there's a time to be middle-aged, and there's a time to be older. The most beautiful seniors I've seen are the one embracing their age, their body, their whole outlook of life. I've seen some people say, "Oh, I love this. I don't have to go to work anymore. I'm free to play golf if I want." The wife says, "Well, I can go to the spa while he's at the golf course, and I love it." Yeah. Or they finally retire from the big city and they buy a smaller home near a cottage or a mountain or a quiet space. Some people embrace these cycles in their lives. Some just fight it all the way. If you're fighting a cycle you're in, ask yourself why. What are you trying to prevent from happening? What are you scared of? Embrace the cycle you're in, and then you'll be fine. Finally, the 12th law of the universe is the law of gender. If you're going to be in this dimension, everything's going to have a male and a female. It's manifesting in the yin and the yang. It's the balance of within. Your soul is actually an androgynous soul, meaning that your soul is as much feminine as it is masculine. So it's not because you're a girl that you have a girl soul, and it's not because you're transgender that you have the wrong soul in the wrong body. Everybody's got a soul that is male and female. How you choose to express yourself in this life may take a form or another. But at the base, you are both. And this is why we were granted to see it in nature so that we recognize this in ourselves. There are even plants, like kiwi plants, that require a male plant and a female plant. In the story of evolution, you used to need different plants together to pollinate each other. And then we got insects that started doing the work. So then the plant had both in one. There's an evolution there. Your soul has both. So therefore, you need to balance both energy. You need to find your strength. You need to find that balance. So those are the 12 laws of the universe. Is there any questions in the room for those 12 laws? Is there any on YouTube?
Oh, okay. I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're talking about the rhythm of the universe,
Yes.
can the universe talk to you through numbers?
Oh, yes. And that's more a talk that I'm going to have in 2 weeks. But the way that the universe can communicate to you, it's going to be through different aids. And so it could be your soul, because your soul's in direct contact with the whole creation of the universe. And it's trying to bring you awareness to what is happening to you now. So it can be through actual numbers that you keep seeing, repeating. When this happens, ask yourself, what was I just thinking? What just happened? Did I just meet someone? Did I just get drawn to something? These synchronicity of two people looking up from a table, both happening to make eye contact. Have you ever been somewhere and you're like, this person looks so familiar, right? We all had that experience. But laws of society precludes us from just going over and going, hi, which is something that I do. So I'll go, I'm not sure if I know you. You look awfully familiar, right? And I get this a lot. A lot of people will come to me and I've seen you somewhere. And I'm thinking, I don't know. You could have seen me on YouTube. You could have seen me on Facebook. You could have seen my books. You could have seen me at a conference. I don't know. Maybe you've never seen me at all. But it's great that you're coming to me and letting me know, because obviously we need to talk, because you're attracted to me. That's what it means. When you have these moments of déjà vu, this is a preordained moment by your soul before birth. You're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Pay attention. Déjà vu are a message that you actually set up this scene. You were supposed to be at that crosswalk right here, right now. All the elements of the déjà vu are here. Okay, why is this moment important? Are you going to a meeting? Are you going to an interview? Someone's just proposing to you, right? What is happening? So that's how your soul talks to you. And tries to make you aware, this is an important moment. This is an important shift. What's happening? Does that answer your question? Good. Any other questions? I don't see any questions on YouTube. Do you have any questions on Facebook? No. I'm good. You're good? Okay. So that's about another 90 minutes, I would think. And again, I apologize because the phone rang during the recording. It shuts off the podcast. So I'm going to have to find another way to record this talk for the podcast and do this all over again. But see us next week for another Another talk next week is on the Trinity and how the universe is being governed. Now we explore the 12 laws that is ruling the universe, but who's put those laws together to make this world work the way it works is what we're exploring tomorrow. The truth of every culture and every country of this world have the story of the Trinity in their beginning story. So we're going to look at the beginning of the world through the Trinity. Interesting talk, interesting topic. Hope to see you there. All right, thank you.